Welcome to this GamblingSites.org how-to video. Today, we'll be providing you with our intermediate guide to odds and probability in blackjack. Probability is the branch of math that governs gambling. When you can analyze the payoff of the bet in relation to your odds of winning, you can determine whether a bet is a long-term winner or a long-term loser. Basic probability is a very simple formula. You take the number of ways something can happen and divide by a total possible number of events. For instance, if you want to determine the probability of getting heads when you flip a coin, you'd look at the number of ways that you could possibly get a heads result and divide it by how many total possible outcomes there are. Since a coin has two sides, and one of them is heads, that's a probability that is 1 out of 2. It works the same way with dice. As long as the dice aren't modified in some way and you use a six-sided die, the odds of landing on any specific number with one roll of a die would be 1 in 6. If you want to know the probability that the die would turn up with an odd number, then you would count the possible number of odd outcomes. There are 3 of them, and you would have 3 in 6 odds of landing on an odd number. At its core, probability is just that simple. You can also show probability as a percentage. In the instance of our coin flip example, you'd have a 50% chance of landing on heads. With the die, there's about a 17% chance of landing on any particular number with a single roll. The number will always be between 0% and 100%. Something with a probability of 0% will never happen. Something with a probability of 100% will always happen. If you want to display probability in an odds format, there's an extra step that you'd take. The odds format compares the number of ways that your outcome can't happen with the number of ways that it can happen. Going back to the die example, if you wanted to know the odds that the die would land on a 3, it would be shown as 5 to 1 chance. There are 5 potential outcomes of rolling the die that are not a 3, and 1 outcome where it would be, 5 to 1 odds. Now, if you were betting with a friend on individual rolls of the die at $1 per roll, giving your friend 5 to 1 payout odds would be giving him true odds. True odds are when a bet pays off at the same rate as its probability. If you wanted to play this game more like a casino and ensure that in the long run you'd make a profit, you might give him 4 to 1 payout odds. On average, he'd lose 5 out of 6 rolls, and the only other roll that he'd win, he would win $4, a net loss of $1 per 6 rolls. This is what casinos do to create what's called the house edge. If the expected value of a $100 bet long-term is $95, then the house edge is 5%. Using our example of rolling the die, the house would expect to win $1 per 6 bets, an average of 16.67 cents per bet. That means the house edge on that die roll example is a whopping 16.67%. Not a bad business model. With blackjack, calculating the house edge is a bit harder. You have to keep up with the expected value for every situation and then add those together. Luckily, this is easy enough with a computer. For blackjack, the house edge can vary depending on the rules variations that are in place, as well as the quality of your decisions. If you play perfectly in every situation, making the moves with the highest possible expected value, then the house edge is typically between 0.5 and 1%. If you fail to use proper basic strategy, that house edge can jump to as high as 5%. Even still, that would still make it one of the best games in the casino. You can use this information to estimate how much money you're liable to lose or win per hour in the casino. Of course, the expected win or loss rate is an average over a long period of time. Over any small number of sessions, your results will vary wildly. In the long run, however, they should be relatively close to these numbers with enough playing time and with correct basic strategy. If you're a perfect basic strategy player in a game with a 0.5% house edge, playing $50 a hand and 100 hands an hour, you can mathematically expect to lose $25 an hour. If you're a skilled card counter and able to gain a 1% edge over the casino, things change. The same betting rate, you would expect to win $50 an hour. On our website, we have a series of charts showing you examples of the impact of different rule changes on the house edge. For instance, playing at a table where a natural blackjack pays out at just 6 to 5 instead of 3 to 2 increases the house edge by 1.3%. Using an 8-deck shoe instead of a single deck increases the house edge by almost 2/3 of 1%. You'll definitely want to examine those closely and be on the lookout for tables that use those rule changes. especially the ones that I just mentioned that give a big edge to the house. Similarly, we have a chart showing the probability of a dealer busting based on their up card. As you might expect, the dealer has the lowest chances of busting when they have a 7, 8, 9, 10, or ace showing, with the ace busting less than 12% of the time. Meanwhile, the dealer busts over 40% of the time when they show a 4, 5, or 6 as their up card. While you won't need to memorize exact numbers or anything, having an understanding of these probabilities will help you understand why basic strategy works the way it does. If a dealer has a nearly 50-50 shot at busting, like they do when a 5 or a 6 is their up card, that's your best chance to ensure that you win and to maximize your potential winnings. Meanwhile, facing a dealer 10 or ace is going to be a time to understand the dealer is probably going to finish the hand without busting and then try to minimize any potential losses. There are endless ramifications to odds and probability in blackjack. The most important concepts are to understand how to calculate probability and how to quantify the house edge. It also makes learning basic strategy and card counting techniques easier. We have plenty of additional videos and articles for you to make sure that you are the best blackjack player that you can be, including more within the intermediate blackjack section. So make sure to check out gamblingsites.org for even more on the game.